today we are going to digress into an area of opposites and discuss if, for the larger good of our developing consciousness, solitariness is a necessity or an escape from an uneventful, mediocre life. Or does enjoying the solitary part of a life bring us closer into contact with awe, or an experience of awe? So let's begin with one end of the spectrum, which is quite apart from this place we call a solitary life, and that is a social life. So what is a social life? As soon as the chances of getting hospitalized for COVID went down, courtesy our vaccinated profile, the social scene burst forth with absolute vengeance, with and without masks. During COVID too, there was the occasional party adept that threw caution to the winds and partied in small inner circles, groups nonetheless. But being sociable in today's context is tagged with being a party lover. In olden times, it probably meant being a good neighbor. Now you are profiled as sociable or social or a social junkie, whether you throw a party or attend one or are highly visible on social media. And to graciously accept an invitation means braving a room with an above average number of individuals, many unknown, trying a shot at conversation, to being heard once in a way and finally giving up and just staying there to be seen. So eating and drinking at an unearthly time actually, when the body and mind are seeking rest, and being part of just any interaction with a fake interested smile, is that being social? And having done this, you're a sociable person in the eyes of other similar sociable people. All of it is great and contemporary thinking, only that the meaning of what is truly sociable is debatable. Because lots of people out there that prefer a book over a party believe that they are as social as anyone else. So it's basically a difference in definition for two groups of people. People meet other people in a party room and discover the world to be really small. And then they meet a stranger and discover common acquaintances, and that's how the world becomes big. It's great to realize one is part of a larger shared consciousness, yes? But is that what it only is? Or is it also that we feel sheltered from dissimilarities, and more the number of people that are like us, think like us, clone us, the higher the numbers in the majority? The larger this number, the less we have to deal with that which is unknowingly different and hard to control even to the slightest of extent. So apart from feeling a sense of sameness, what else does it mean to cradle a glass, chatter over opinionated matters, and go home feeling unheard over the loud noise level? Now this surely isn't the place to share what's vulnerable and broken inside you, because here is where you talk about your best qualities, your most charming utterances, your most charming attributes. And a talk about your dissertation on African cats can surely mean nothing and receive merely polite nods. This is part life to most extroverted people who thrive in human contact. The ecstasy we encounter here shrouds the real agony of being human, still alive amongst all that is dying around us. And while in a relationship, sharing our agony creates happiness in spite of things failing around us. So, for others that can't abide by loud noise, polite and fake conversations, they flee from large gatherings, they prefer anonymity and look for social connection with a very select number of people. It's a selective audience here because there seemingly anyway are fewer introverts around to pick from. It takes courage to stand alone, openness to have one-to-one conversations on difficult topics that sear the heart. And for such individuals, the authentic meaning of the minds is far more important than the external ambience. Meeting someone over drinks isn't knowing someone. But then how many of us really want to get to a place where we are really fully seen by another, totally unprotected by a false persona? The larger the turnout at gatherings, the bigger the fear of slipping up, and so heavier the masks for self-protection. Only a cheery countenance can make you pretend about your life. While being in deep conversation with another human, it rips away your pretense It bears the triumphs and the shame of having lesser human experiences, the shame that lies deep within. And after a point of having experienced the high life, there is no need left and no place to hide. We realize then that what is broken and lost in us is reflected in the other too. The common ground for two people meeting in honesty is common suffering, which is the derivative of a shared consciousness. We cannot escape that. We cannot escape this kind of awareness into the depths of the human soul when we get so close and upfront with other people. Now, what is a shared context between many people? A pretense at living a life that isn't ours to own. Why? Because we live according to what is socially acceptable and what is inclusive. We hate to feel marginalized, which is absolutely right, but we give up our authenticity, our rights to unique thinking, only so as to be socially accepted. But succumbing to rules made by other people suffering the same kind of social anxiety as us is foolish to say the least. I remember attending a few parties in my time where I felt lost for many reasons. One being the underdeveloped skill set of the hostess, understandably dissociated after seeing the literal turnout in flesh and blood, and who unfortunately lacked the ability to bring together extroverts and introverts. Now, me being an introvert, of course, else why would I be so sure about today's topic? Our brain goes into red alert when our sense of safety is compromised, and sensitive and empathic people are the very first to go down under. If being amongst politely conversing strangers at a party doesn't do it for someone's brain, then it probably goes to show that a social connection demands much more out of us than just this. Networking is the new buzzword. You agree? Everything is geared towards connecting via networking. Almost a formula that suggests success at the end of it. And that's probably why people join networking groups, because they are promised success. Now, networking intends that we make friends without knowing the person intimately. That's the new way of looking at friendship. It builds business partnerships, although we neither share temperament or hobbies, but only the product or service idea. Similarly, as long as people are drinking themselves numb at a party, they will withstand being amongst unequals as long as they don't have to bare their souls. But at the shallow depth of a fleeting conversation, how can we truly be socially accepting of others when we don't even know what to expect, what to get for ourselves? I've had the taste of a networking group and found that it was organized around everything socially acceptable except genuine compatibility. And the end goal at this place was seeking collaborative opportunities with the sole aim of improving one's financial standing. So if you want, and social status, of course. If you want to add genuine sociability to this mix, then we have to move into psychological terrain. And that's something most people are reluctant to do, with most people believing that friendship can and does evolve over time. And what needs to be done right now is to get on with building a company or a business collaboration. It's essentially mind over heart, is how I look at it. The future of any relationship, or you can call it a partnership, or you can call it a coupling, is patterned around the ingredients added to it at the very beginning itself. Everything else that we may add as we go along simply adds to what's already there, what's been created at the beginning. So the relationship literally gives what it gets. On similar lines, we need a big push to open ourselves in front of others, to share empathy, understanding, and a willingness to listen. Chances are no one will withstand knowing our own darkness. The world has more talkers and takers than listeners and true givers of their time. Giving what you don't want or need anymore, or signing off extra money that you have on a check, doesn't really take much imagination. Without patience to listen and lean into another person's dualistic nature, which is good and bad, we end up focusing on being center stage at all times. We want ourselves to be at the center of every stage. And when it is our turn to feel unheard, we are also learning a very important life lesson that however much we may seek a diversion from our personal pain with someone to narrate to, we still have to go back and be with it alone. No one else and nothing else can enhance or diminish our experience of our life more than we do, and we can. So, being in social connection with others is accepting, one, that no one can ever be like us in their entirety. In some aspects of a human experience, we have to keep place and time for being solitary, doing things that others don't approve of, having thoughts that oppose the personal belief systems of others. Perhaps, as we have seen over the last few days, one place where humanity meets favorably and dissolves all rancor between humans is in nature. A star-studded sky has the same meaning for everyone, just that it may be noticed at different times, different days. Whatever may be our social standing or the perceived lack of our social standing, we all uniformly are in awe of universal phenomenon. Keeping that awe-inspiring view of life in mind, I would like to end today and conclude this topic tomorrow. I hope to see you there. Thank you, and thank you Help Library for making this possible. Goodbye for now.
Help Talks are daily health-related talks held at Health Education Library for People, Mumbai, India. For more information visit www.healthlibrary.com. Subscribe to Help Talks channel. Be better informed about your health.